So the purpose of this video is to show you how you can use GitHub for this course. GitHub is a code repository and versioning platform. It leverages the Git protocols for version control for code, but it's a platform or a service. So it's a company that does this for enterprises as well as free accounts. So we can take lesson 1, for example, which was what we covered on Monday. We have a couple files in here. We have a completed folder. This has the completed Jupyter Notebook. And please note that the Jupyter Notebook file extension is .ipynb. Jupyter Notebooks used to be called IPython Notebooks. It has a git ignore, which ignores some hidden files and things like that on our computer. As well as the original notebook that we go through and fill out throughout the class or the lesson. So this this is actually not completed here. Okay. Again, so the completed one is right here. Okay. So what we want to do, there's 2 main steps, and this is the first step is gonna have to occur independently of whether you choose to use GitHub Desktop, which is the application you can have on your computer, or GitHub at the command line, which is the Git command line arguments and command line calls to interact with GitHub. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to fork the repo. Okay, I have run the class where I just had everyone clone the repos and then them trying to manage their version along with the class version and with branches and things like that. It's just got kind of out of control. So we're going to go through this practice of forking. So I click this button in the top right hand corner. And I'm going to fork to my personal repo, which is what you all should be doing. And generally speaking, it'll take a few seconds to do that. Okay, so then once it's been forked, and I want to verify that it has my GitHub username rather than the Pratt organization for the class. And then I'm going to either clone with SSH, which is what we use for the command line, or with the desktop app. So I'm going to click open in desktop. Okay. And then this pop-up will open up, and I'll click open in GitHub desktop. Okay. And I just want to make sure these look okay. Okay, I'm going to save it to this path here, my computer, and I'm going to hit clone. Okay, so now it is cloned. And then if I go to Jupyter Notebooks, GitHub, and I should have the repo somewhere, Pratt, okay, lesson 1, okay. And then I'll see the notebooks and files associated with that lesson there, okay? So now, as I'm working through this notebook, let's say I want to add something. So I'm just going to add some text here. 2 + 2 is 4. Okay. I'm going to save this notebook. And then I'm going to go back to, whoops. Sorry, my podcast app, it looks like GitHub. Okay, so here I've actually changed some data in one of the cells in the IPYNB file, the Jupyter Notebook file. If you notice, it looks kind of like JSON or dictionary. That's to be expected. Okay, so I'm going to add a comment, added some text in a cell. Okay, and then I am going to commit that to master, which is the branch. We're just going to use master branch. We're not going to use any branching techniques for this class. But then I'm going to push it to origin. And what that's doing is pushing that code up to the repo on GitHub. So now if I refresh this, we'll see the comment that I added right here. And then we'll be able to check the notebook. Once it refreshes, and we should see the change that we made. Yeah, so here's the stuff that we added, okay? So generally speaking, we'll want, and I'll go through a review again here, we'll want to fork, and then clone the repo. So fork it from the main Pratt SAVI 810 organization, okay? And then we'll clone once it's been forked. And then once it's been cloned, if we make any edits, then we'll want to commit the edit, which is sort of like saving it, and then push that edit up to GitHub. So in your app, you may make a change and then you hit commit to master. You also have to hit the button push to origin, okay? So you're going to want to make sure you do that. Okay, and then I'll go through for the command line how we do this, okay? And this may or may not be useful for all of you, but for those of you who want to use the command line, or if you're interested in learning it for later on, here we have our second lesson, which I will fork in the GitHub, on the GitHub platform. So we're going to want to do that if we're using command line. Okay. Then I'll open up my terminal. Okay. So I'm in my GitHub folder on my account on my computer. So then I'm going to copy here. This is the SSH key. You can also use HTTPS if you don't have your account hooked up with SSH. Git clone, and I'm going to paste that link in. Okay, so that's just the URL with the .git at the end. Okay, so now it has been cloned after it's been forked. And I'll go ahead and take a look, and it'll be in my folder here as well. Let's say I make a change here. Once this loads, okay, I'll change the title here, or add a new cell up here. Okay, so test. Okay, so I've added a new markdown cell here. I'm going to save the notebook. Okay, and then in the command line, I'm going to type in git status. Oh, this is not a git repo. Oh, okay, sorry. cd Pratt SAVI 810 2020. Sorry, I have to look this up. Pratt SAVI 2020-03- lesson 02. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so now that I changed directories in there, so I'm going to type git status. Okay, so it shows that I've modified this notebook. Okay, so lesson02.ipynb. So I'm going to hit git add dot. So this adds the file into the commit, and then git commit, and then I'm going to type -m for the message, modified lesson 02.ipynb. Okay, hit return, and then type, let me zoom in a little bit here, type git push. Okay, and this will push it back up to GitHub. Okay, so git status should be good. Okay, now if I go to the repo, refresh, I'll see that comment. And if I go to the notebook, I should see that change in GitHub. Okay. Okay, great. So essentially, that's how you can use GitHub for this course. And that's what we're going to do. So again, we're going to fork the repo, clone it, work through the lessons, or as we'll learn about when we talk about our first assignment, we'll work through the lesson or the assignment, finish it or get to a point where we want to save it or something like that or store it. Or if you have a question, it's good to get your commits pushed so that I can look at the code and say, here's where you made a mistake, or, this is what we can fix. But so basically you would push the changes, the commit, up to GitHub so I can view it, all right? Or when you're done with a lesson or an assignment, you push it up there to sort of save it for future use and for future reference, okay? Okay, great. And any other questions we can talk about in class, but this is sort of an intro to using Git and GitHub for our class, for our purposes. Again, if anything's unclear here, we'll sort of sort it out in the class, or I'll make another video. Okay, thanks.